Coming up, we have stories about ruining dinner with family, kicking out family members, expensive hobbies? Question mark. Boyfriend priorities, skipping birthday parties. We also have cake stories, a best reverted or update story, and petty revenge. LFG. Am I the astronaut for not serving stepkids dinner and ruining it for everyone? My 30 female, partner 45 male, and I have been together for just over a year. We have known each other for about 3 years total. We currently live together, moved in early as my lease was up, although it was too early for both of us. We decided that's ultimately where we wanted the relationship to go. We're a blended family of 5 kids. We've recently gone camping where his kids, 16, 14, 12, met a group of 18-year-old boys. His youngest daughters wanted to go hang out with a new group of boys at night. The boys had been drinking, legal here, and were intoxicated when they left our campsite. My partner said no and was met with attitude, so I stepped in, said it was inappropriate for underage girls to be with adult men who had been drinking. I offered to go to their campsite with them. They said no. Normally, I wouldn't put my 2 cents in, very much nacho when it comes to each other's kids. I assume nacho business, nacho problem. Yes. But they were giving their dad such a bad attitude, and we were just trying to enjoy our bonfire. Well, the girls turned on me, full yelling, name-calling, being totally disrespectful. My partner said nothing. I went to bed pissed off. I was only looking out for them and having my man's back, and I did not deserve that. For the next 2 days, on a couple different occasions, my partner and I talked about the issue. He said I should just move on and forget about it. I explained to him that I felt completely disrespected, and name-calling is never okay, especially from children. I explained that I feel uncomfortable cooking, cleaning, and providing for people who call me the C word. Oh, wait, what? Now, she did say 18 drinking age was legal there, so it could be across the pond, which would mean the C word is not as severe as it is here. Could mean that. Especially those who call me the C word and talk to me with such piss poor attitude when I'm only looking out for them. I was done doing these things for them until an apology was in order. I made that perfectly clear. They had been at their mom's until last night. Last night I cooked a lamb roast, heaps of veggies, and the works as it was his son's 16th birthday. Throughout the day I asked what the go was with the girls and reminded him that I'm not cooking or cleaning for them. He said nothing. Well, dinner time comes and we're all in the kitchen. I told the girls, like you said on Saturday, I'm not your mother, so it's not my job to put food on the table for you. I don't do favors for people who talk with such disrespect. All hell broke loose. His daughters started screaming, cursing, and asking why I'm still here and that I should leave. My partner said that I've now upset his kids and picked a fight at dinner, ruining it for everyone. He didn't have my back at all. I ended up walking away. He ended up going to the opposite side of the house with his kids, and I went to the other end with mine. This morning, we haven't spoken a word, but there is tons of tension in the house. I don't think I was the asshole for standing my ground about the disrespect while camping, but maybe I'm the asshole for saying something at dinner. So Reddit, am I the astronaut? Okay, let's chat.
What do you think?
I don't think she's the astronaut at all.
I don't think so either.
I think what we have here is a classic case of parental guilt causing paralysis. Dad here is too afraid to make the kids not like him, and it's paralyzing him from being able to parent. And so OP here is stepping in and trying to do that for him with good intentions. But I think this is one of the areas where blended families get really tricky, right?
It really does, yeah.
It's so OP stepped in and tried to be assertive in an area where her partner feels like she didn't have the authority to do that.
Let's remind ourselves that this was a 12-year-old girl and a 14-year-old girl who were wanting to go off with 18-year-old drunk guys.
Not okay.
That is 12 years old. That is not okay. That is completely 100% not okay.
Now, Dad said no, right?
He did say no, but they wouldn't let up. They wouldn't stop. And she said they were trying,
such bad attitude.
And she offered to go with them so that they could go, and they declined. And like you said, Dad was afraid to be too harsh, to put his foot down. I think that she should have talked to the girls before dinner, not just to her partner, but should have said, hey, as a reminder that this is what is happening. If you are ready to have a conversation about this, we can move forward and celebrate your brother at dinner time, whatever that looks like. But like doing it like right before dinner when it is a birthday dinner.
Yeah.
I don't love the timing of that for her.
That it could have been done differently,
I think
or it should have been done differently.
I think it's a could have been done differently, but I also understand, I mean, we both do, like being put in a position where you are a parent but don't have the means to parent. It's a tricky position, especially this new, that 1 year in.
That's true.
Like,
Yeah.
That is a very tough position to put yourself in. And I think that's when you find out if the other parent if the biological parent in the relationship in this blended family is unwilling to parent their children, and you have different values, whatever that looks like, then it's going to cause issues, and it's going to be very rocky because you're effectively parenting against each other with different kids in the same house, and it's very, very volatile.
Right.
It's NTA, but as con for,
yeah.
you could have done it differently. You did not have to do this at your stepson's birthday dinner.
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
I don't think the line you drew in the sand is wrong.
It could have been done differently. That one tiny part of it, yes.
Yes, which is why it's like, I mean, still NTA, but like if you wanted to change something about it, do that differently next time. Don't ruin an evening on it. Set them down before they even come to the table to have that conversation.
So a big picture NTA, but a situational 4, because you could have done that one piece differently. I think the real issue here is dad.
Yeah.
Because dad is
100%.
enabling. She said the way that they were talking to him is why she
150%.
stepped in, right? So he's enabling by allowing. You guys have to get on the same page. By that, I mean, he has to grow the up and stop being a coward and stop worrying about being his kid's friend more than being their parent, and actually do some parenting here, because he is also like, yeah, the approval ratings he's worried about, this is parental guilt driven, but he is willing to sacrifice your relationship. At that point, like, there has to be a serious conversation. It's probably a couples therapy kind of situation, because this is dad. This is for their approval. That was just proven. Roommate burned my food, so I matched his energy. Years ago, I decided to go back to school for a career pivot. I had to keep expenses low, so I moved into a sort of shared student apartment in the basement of an old apartment building. We each had our own locked rooms along a hallway, but had a shared kitchen/bathrooms. No one really socialized beyond reminders to e-transfer for the shared internet. One night, I got home from classes and work around 10 p.m. and decided to make myself a frozen pizza. Cash was tight, so it was a bit of a luxury food item for me. Popped it in the oven at like 375, set an alarm, and went back to my room to wait the 25-ish minutes recommended by the packaging. About halfway through the cook time, I heard the oven door open. As it was old and always made a loud noise. A few seconds after, I heard one of the other students closing their bedroom door. I went to check the oven and saw that someone had put a big tray of chicken breasts in the oven, too. Thought nothing of it and went back to my room until the timer was done. When I went out there to pull out my pizza, it was mostly burnt. The fucker had put his stuff in the oven and cranked it up to 425 without telling me. Fine, put your shit in the oven, but don't change the cook temp without saying anything. To me, that is a huge dick move. Yeah, it is like, not huge dick move, not like huge dick move, but huge dick move, right? Am I interpreting? The pizza was just burnt enough to be terrible, but I still had to eat it. After fuming internally for a minute or two, and having a minor existential crisis about how pitiful my life is, I went back into the kitchen area in a rage and cranked the oven up to 500 with his chicken still in there. After a bit, I heard the smoke alarm going off, and shortly after, someone swearing. I stepped out into the darkened hallway and, in a slightly ominous tone, said, "Everything all good, bud?" He stammered something about being fine and was trying to scrape the charred chicken off the baking sheet. I went back into my room and ate the rest of my terrible pizza. I moved out not long after that. F*** your chicken. Top comment. You brought a pizza to a game of chicken. I love it. That is fantastic. F*** your chicken.
This makes me so fucking happy. And why nothing pisses you off more than burning your pizza or taking a bite and burning the roof of your mouth behind your two front teeth. And I feel like this is the equivalent of both. So yeah, his chicken. And I'm glad you turned the oven up, because who the does that to someone's pizza in the oven?
If this were going to be truly fair, I would have watched him eat that burnt shit too. And when he tried to throw it away, I'd be like, oh, hell no. You've got to eat it as you take a bite of your
burnt pizza.
Yeah. Like, hey, if I have to experience this, you do too. But I kind of also imagine it being like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, where he cuts into the turkey and it's like, you know what I mean? It's just like completely just.
There's nothing worse than dried out chicken.
Nothing but steam on the inside.
Dried out poultry in general is just the worst. It's gross.
Dried out, yeah, food in general. Am I the astronaut for kicking my mom and or my brother out? I, 34 male, bought my own house 12 years ago and have been paying for it since. My mom, 63 female, and younger brother, 25 male, have always lived with me. I've basically been the main provider since I started working at 19. I've never charged my mom rent since she doesn't work due to her age. She's 63? I have a feeling I'm still going to be working at 63. I'm just saying that. For the added context, she didn't finish middle school, so she's always struggled financially, but sacrificed everything so her children could get through life. Sacrificed in quotation marks here. With my brother, I've only asked him to contribute 50% of the utilities and groceries because it feels unfair for me to cover everything while he spends his money on takeout and video games or whatever. A little over a year ago, I moved in with my boyfriend, 30 male, who rents a house with a friend. I decided to let my mom and brother stay in my house, and to help them out, I decided not to charge rent. The idea was that my brother could use that money to help my mom and groceries, gas, etc. Recently, my brother took out a loan to buy a house, even though I advised him it was a terrible idea, given how bad the housing market is right now. He's now in massive debt and left with less than 50% of his paycheck after repayments. To make things worse, he rented his house out to a terrible tenant who either pays late or not at all. My mom has ended up dealing with the tenant, repairs, and maintenance because my brother is basically a man-child who refuses to learn how to drive, communicate, or even prepare and or cut his own food. Ooh.
What?
This escalated several levels with that one sentence here. A couple of weeks ago, my boyfriend's landlord told us they want the house back once our lease ends in 6 months. Since I already own a house and my brother owns one too, I suggested that my boyfriend and I move back into my house and my mom and brother move into his. That way, everyone would have their own place without paying rent. Plus, what my boyfriend and I save on rent could go into a fund to help my mom whenever she needs it. When I floated this idea to my mom, not even as a final decision, just as a suggestion, she completely flipped out. She started trying to guilt trip me, saying she'd be better off dead, that she's just a burden, and that she has nothing because she sacrificed everything for her children. I've always helped my mom financially, but she coddles my brother to the point that he'll never learn to be independent. Now she's making me feel like I'm the bad guy for even suggesting a logical solution where we both use the houses we actually own. So, am I the astronaut for suggesting my mom and brother move into his house so I can move back into mine? Happy to provide any additional context if needed. All right, let's check.
I mean, God forbid you live in the house that's in your name without having to tell the people, like, what? What the is going on?
I think, yeah, and to
also,
that,
what the is going on with your brother?
At what point was this man-child
He's like a fucking barnacle on your mom's
who
ass.
doesn't cut up his own food? Is he like, you know what?
I'm gonna buy a house.
I'm gonna buy a house and rent it out.
Stop.
Because I saw it on a TV show once, and I think I could do that. I mean, I can't tie my own shoes, but I could do that.
Also, your mom laying it on thick with the guilt tripping is all that is. She doesn't want to disrupt her life. She doesn't want to have to deal with the fallout with your brother. So she's guilt tripping you into not rocking the boat that she's currently in. Rock the fucking boat and get your house back.
Eudora agreed. Stop enabling your family. And
yeah,
what I was going to say to follow up on Tater thoughts here is, you know, right now you're floating the idea, but you need to make it abundantly clear that floating the idea is a courtesy because your legal right is to kick them out of this house. Like, we can go about this the nice way or the not so nice way, ma.
Right.
But this is happening, so get on board. Because right now, somehow, even though she is completely dependent on you for everything in life, including coddling your brother, she's in charge. She's still in charge, even though she is a tick that is swelled up enough on your back to feed another tick to a point that's being swelled up. Somehow she's in charge.
That's so gross, but also accurate.
Your brother's a tick on a tick. Am I the astronaut for letting friends stay when we're not home? I love my girlfriend of 3 years. We'll call her Joni. I'm even planning to propose soon. We recently got a little guest bed in case a friend or family member ever wanted to visit. Monday, I got a text from 2 of my best friends. We'll call them Casey and Alex. Hey, this is so last minute, so no pressure, but if Alex and I happen to need a place to crash this Friday night, any chance we could split that twin bed of yours? I responded, oh, maybe. Let me ask Joni when she gets off work. Joni and I are going out of town this weekend, so it would make perfect sense to me to hide the keys in a secret place and let them crash on Friday. Again, these are S-tier friends of 10 years. What does S-tier mean?
Like top of the line.
Top of the line?
Yeah.
I'm like, S is very low in the alphabet.
No, S is good.
Okay. S is good, Caden Thunder says. Again, these are S-tier friends of 10 plus years. But when I went to quickly run it by Joni, she said she'd be uncomfortable having people stay when we're not here. I was kind of shocked and asked her a bunch of questions. No, it wasn't because they weren't trustworthy. She'd feel the same about her best friend. So, no, she didn't think they'd steal or break stuff or leave the door unlocked. Yes, it would be fine for them to stay if we were in town. I was confused. Eventually, she said she'd feel anxious and sick to her stomach if people were crashing at our place without us there. She said it would be different if they were signed subletters or even if they had offered to pay us to stay. She'd also said she would love to host them properly sometime. She just didn't like the idea of our place being used like a hotel. She didn't want people in their house. That's what I'm getting from this. And she seemed not to want to set that precedent. She said if they were in dire straits, she could help pay for a hotel or even stay in town this weekend to host them. Bonkers solution in my opinion. I said maybe we could gently let them know that this is a one-time thing and in the future we would need to be present, but no dice. By this time she was feeling very judged and shamed by me. I was surprised and saddened that it wasn't an easy yes. It's an unconventional ask for sure, but where I come from, friends help friends out, especially just letting them crash for a single night. By the way, this all started because Casey and Alex forgot they'd bought concert tickets a while back, and by the time they remembered, all the hotels were super expensive. It's not a true emergency, but I've been in similar situations and would like to save them $200 plus. I was embarrassed to tell them no, especially when I've crashed with them on fairly short notice before, though to be fair, they were physically present while I was there. I texted Casey, okay, so I buried the lead. We're out of town this weekend, and Joni kind of feels weird about having people crash when neither of us are around. We went around and around about it because I felt bad and promise it's not specifically about you. It's just a boundary of hers. Sorry about that. Would have loved to have seen y'all. Luckily, Casey was understanding and responded with, oh, gotcha. No worries at all. I know it was a long shot. So am I unreasonable here? Is Joni. All right. What do you think?
Well, first of all, let me put my intelligent glasses on here.
Okay. Intelligent glasses,
And they're coming off.
engaged and disengaged.
So, one thing that I noticed that I made a little bookmark of in my little brain is that whenever he was texting his buddy, I think he kind of like put the blame on his wife when he was texting his buddy the reason, which, I mean, that's not like a big deal, but it's kind of like, I feel like it's kind of shitty to be like, hey, sorry, man, the reason you can't come over is because my wife, she's not comfortable with it. I tried, but I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but I feel like you also kind of got to take into account that it's partially your space, it's also partially her space, and for something like this, like if the roles were reversed, you would probably hope that she didn't dog on you like that. You know what I mean? I don't know what I mean. This is going south fast. Nobody's stopping me. The lights are bright. It's cold. My arms are up. Okay. What are we doing here?
I think you're on the right track here. And you know, the general consensus that we see in chat is that, well, it's not general consensus. It is kind of a 50-50 split of he told the truth or he threw his wife under the bus. And it seems like that's the real issue that we're focused on and discussing here instead of what this whole situation. So let's back up just a second. I'm torn. Honestly, I'm 50-50 on if he was right for telling the truth or if he was wrong for throwing his wife under the bus. He didn't blame it on her.
They're not married.
He explained, yeah, sorry, not wife, girlfriend.
No, I said that.
Oh yeah, and then I did too. Sorry. Well, we kept the narrative going. Words are hard. Backing up a little bit here. I think you guys are just in a relationship right now, and she explained to you, your girlfriend explained to you, your extreme discomfort with having someone stay there. Like was very, very open with you about that. You received it. You had lots of questions. You needed to understand it. But then here's what happened. You took that and were just like, okay, I guess we're just in this shit situation. And then you came to us and told us how you really felt instead of telling her how you really felt. You opposed it and you made her fully explain it before you would accept it. But when she explained it, you just accepted it. I feel like the right move here would have been, I understand that that's extreme discomfort for you. And I want you to please understand the extreme discomfort for me of having to tell my friends no when they've done similar good deeds for me, and I consider them good enough friends for this to not be an issue. So if this is where we're at and this is your hill to die on, like I need you to help me respond to them and come up with something that makes sense and I feel like is fair, because right now it doesn't feel fair and it feels like I'm going to be forced to do something I don't want to do. And I feel like my friends deserve better. So we're both at a point of extreme discomfort here. And that doesn't just mean one person automatically gets the dub here. It means that there's more discussion to be had and you need to come to a place of common understanding. And maybe this, like, communicate it through, right? I don't know. Now I feel like there's a choice to be made. And in conversation, you chose your friends because you told the absolute truth instead of trying to protect perception of your girlfriend to your friends.
On the other hand, let's open this book and smell these pages for a second. How would you feel if put yourself in the shoes of the person who's writing this story?
Okay.
Put your shoes in their shoes. Would you feel comfortable having someone stay over at your place whenever everybody's gone like that? Or do you see more from the girlfriend's perspective where she's like uncomfortable with that? Like personally, how do you feel about that?
I feel like I wouldn't mind. You know, if it's a good enough friend that there isn't a shred of doubt that they're going to treat the area with respect because they are good friends and they're rock solid. If they're S tier, if that's as true. Good as you're telling me
they are S tier,
then I don't feel like that should be an issue, right? I feel like girlfriend's issue here was more with the possibility that they were going to do some dirty things in the house.
Maybe.
And that's the vibe I got. She didn't come out and say that.
I personally, I can understand being a little bit anxious by people being in my space when I'm not there. Not even for any specific reason other than like, I don't know, an anxiety thing maybe.
Don't touch my shit.
No, not even don't touch my shit. It's just like the idea of like somebody being in my safe space while I'm not in my safe space invalidates my safe space. So, and also the OP did clarify that they had done similar. They had let him stay, but never when they weren't there, never when they weren't home.
Okay.
It had always been when
it's
they
not
were home.
the exact same situation.
So
sure. I don't know. So
I don't think OP was an asshole though.
I don't think so either. But understand that this extreme discomfort you were describing to us, and you need to describe to your partner, and that's where a conversation needs to be had, and you guys need to reach a point of common understanding, because now that you've given her this dub and just kind of moved on and like took your licks and
you were like, shit.
Now you're going to resent her just a little bit. And what's going to happen to that resentment seed? I don't know. Communicate.
Bad gas.
Communicate.
Real bad.
Just communicate. That's where I'm at here.
I think so.
I don't think you would have been the astronaut for letting friends stay when you're not home.
You would have been if you did with her saying no, because that's where I thought it was headed. That you were going to, let them sneak into your house and put on their clown costumes and do their funky music while you were gone. But they didn't, so it was crisis averted there.
It was because you didn't let it happen.
No funky music this time.
Where do you go from here? Am I the astronaut for deciding to not attend my niece's birthday party because I don't care for bowling? Over the weekend, my niece celebrated turning 8 years old at a nearby bowling alley. She was having both a family party and a party for her friends, and she decided that it would be fun for the family to bowl with her. I received the invitation by mail about 3 weeks in advance, and they requested that I RSVP no less than a week in advance. Here's the thing, my niece is a great kid, but bowling just isn't my thing. I've never been good at it, and I find it really repetitive and a boring way to pass the time. I'm also not much of a planner, unlike my sister. I just try to enjoy life and be spontaneous. Going to whatever event speaks to me that day. Well, about 2 days before the party, I heard about this really awesome festival celebrating Caribbean culture, and I decided to go to that instead. I didn't really think much of this since my niece presumably had a whole bunch of other family members attending her party. Besides, I live very far away from the Caribbean, so opportunities to experience their culture are few and far between. Or I texted my sister as I showed up to the event a picture and said that I would bring over some leftover jerk chicken for the family. The plan was to eat ice cream at her house after bowling. My sister went nuts. She said that my niece was counting on me to be at her party and that I had betrayed her by not showing up. I couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of this. She had planned a lame event. I had gone to a better one, and I was shelling out enough food for the whole family. How is that betrayal? It is really beyond my understanding. She told me not to show up for the desserts, so I guess that meant I was never really wanted at the bowling anyway. At this point, I just hung up because she was becoming mentally unglued, and it was bumming me out. I love my sister, but she takes every opportunity to bash my go-with-the-flow personality, and I'm getting tired of it. Just because she plans things out to an annoying degree doesn't make her morally superior in any way. I've tried calling her yesterday and today, but it goes straight to voicemail. I don't know what more I can do here. Am I the astronaut?
You're really harshing my vibe by planning shit out like a month in advance when I live on the day-to-day.
You threw off the Emperor's Groove.
I don't really like when people like plan stuff and like you're just harshing my vibe. Like I'm trying to enjoy some jerky and you're being the jerk, but I need the jerky. You see what I mean? Did he RSVP for the party?
No.
Okay.
No.
By the response, it sounded like they were expecting him to be there.
Man, like just chill. It's cool.
Like my sister's really just destroying my buzz by like doing shit, and I just like hate doing shit unless I want to do the shit. You know what I mean?
So the funny part here is that and OP never specifies male or female. So OP says that OP's sister pretends to be morally superior because she plans things out methodically or over plans things out. I kind of get the vibe that OP acts morally superior because
he does, or they
go with the flow and they aren't tied down to responsibility or structure. And while I admire the ability to be a butterfly through life, like that is not an excuse to not go to a kid's birthday party.
You're messing with my Zen thing,
like,
man.
I've actually encountered this where some people, in life or in an extended family make a similar decision and they're like, I'm not going to do things I don't want to do. So, okay, birthday party isn't about you. I'm sorry. This is like shocking information for you somehow, but it's not about you. And you choosing you is totally fine. That's fine. You do you, right? But we're going to note that.
It's like this. It's like you eat the spicy food, whatever comes out is on you.
Truth. Yeah, whatever spicy shit happens after you make a spicy decision is come what may. Now, I will say that the way that your sister reacted in the situation is not the way that I would react either, right?
Yeah.
Like in the sister position, when the free-flowing, unattached sibling doesn't show up for my kid's birthday party, I'm going to make the assumption that they did it because it didn't fit their vibe for that day or whatever. And that's just who they are, right? It's not malicious on their part, but OP needs to have some awareness that
it's careless though.
Not everything is about them. And how is this going to make the niece feel? You are there to support your niece and nothing more.
Narcissistic, maybe.
To be there to make your niece feel loved on her birthday and nothing more. That is it. That is the entire function of your presence that day. If there happens to be something fun or yummy, bonus points. But you are going there for someone else. And OP doesn't understand how to do things for other people yet. That's not who they are. So there's this disconnect here where sis probably should know who OP is by now. And OP at some point is going to have to become aware of other people's feelings and start taking them into consideration, or end up just very isolated. So it's
Yeah.
blah. I'm 99.99% sure my 35 male wife, 33 female, of 14 years has been cheating on me for years. I'm completely broken and at a loss for what to do. I, 35 male, think that my wife, 33 female, is cheating on me and has been for many years. We've been together for 14 years, been married for almost 10 years, and we have a 5-year-old daughter together. Incident number 1. When my wife and I were in college, where we first started dating, we had an incident where she had some really sexually graphic text from a guy we both knew from school. She even had classes with him. I confronted her about the text. I definitely did not handle it well, and basically accused her straight out of the gate as cheating on me without realizing there were some possible outs for her. One of those outs was that she claimed that they were just some pervy text that she had got from this guy out of the blue, and that if I had paid any attention when I was snooping through her phone, that she hadn't actually responded to them. At the time, I conceded that I may have overlooked that possibility, and I had overreacted. She apologized to me for not mentioning to me that some guy was hitting on her like that, and I apologized for overreacting and for snooping. We moved on from there. Incident number 2. Fast forward to this last year, my daughter, wife, and I are at the gas station. I can tell my wife is kind of distant and detached from the interactions my daughter and I are having. I notice she's glued to her phone as well. The gas fill for our car is on the passenger side, and I have the rear passenger door open so I can tickle my daughter while I wait for the car to fill up. I'm really suspicious of what my wife is doing at this point. Just randomly? I'm gonna red flag at that point. So I decide that I'm going to take a look over my wife's shoulder from the back seat at what it is she's so caught up in. Turns out she is actively, in the moment, sexting some guy. Well, never mind, that red flag was warranted. Like words, descriptions, acts that very much seem like they've been doing this for a while, texting, and looking back with 2020 hindsight, I'm fairly certain they had been effing as well. Also, all that shit she was texting was super graphic stuff that she never used with me, either in dirty talk or when we got intimate. And I know this next admission is pathetic and that it shouldn't matter more than anything else, but the fact that she wanted to share in these acts with this man instead of me really effing hurt. Probably just my pride talking, but it is what it is. So fast forward 10 minutes when we get home and I have to suffer through smiling during dinner and the whole nighttime ritual of getting our daughter to bed so as to not cause a scene by blowing up at my wife for what I had seen her texting. Honestly, that was probably a blessing because it allowed me to collect my thoughts before confronting her. I ended up telling my wife what I saw at the gas station, and right off the bat she tries to play dumb. What are you talking about? Honey, you're not making sense. I told her not to play dumb with me, and I recited some of the text that I could remember back to her to prove what I saw. She then goes on to admit that it was a mistake, but that it was 100% nothing physical and that she was really, really sorry. She admitted that the guy was a work colleague. We talked a lot that night about why she felt she needed to be doing that. A lot of it boiled down to her feeling depressed and lonely. We talked about strategies that we could invoke at home, things that we both could change to help mend the rift. I guess things felt kind of okay after that, but it felt like the damage to our trust was already done. And I don't think I've ever really recovered. Even that seemingly small amount of infidelity, assuming that was only text, was just such an effing hammer to my heart. Ever since that incident from last year, I've been waking up every day as a lesser person of my former self. My emotions and propensity to feel anything have been severely muted. Interacting with my daughter is about the only thing that gets me back close to a baseline of how I remember my former self. But beyond those precious moments, I'm just a walking grayed out zombie that puts on a good face for pretty much everything in my day-to-day. Going to work, interacting with my wife, etc. There's another incident to read here, but before we do that, what are your thoughts so far, Tater Rooney?
Sexting some guy in the car with your husband and daughter is... What the What are you doing? I'm like, the whole time, I'm just like, it just gets worse and worse.
But what about how...
Clearly likes to sext people with the one she got in college, and now this guy.
Theme at this point. She is like the master of the one-hit gaslight. You know what I mean? Like, she says one thing, and he's like, oh, well, yeah.
And he assumed they were more than just like texting. He assumed it was physical, and now he's like believing that it's not. I don't know. I think he probably loves her, loves his life, doesn't want it to change, and it's easier to just accept what they say than it is to dive into this and actually dissect your entire life and reconstruct it and all of that. So until he has like I mean, I don't know what more evidence you need than seeing the person you love send those texts to someone else. And he said it was his pride talking. I'm like, that's not your pride. That's hurt. That's your heart. That's your love that you have for the person who's supposed to be your wife.
That was your backbone trying to reach your brain.
Like, ugh. So now we're going to read the most recent incident.
And just one thing before we dive into that. The fact that he busted her doing this, she gaslit him completely and was like, oh, you're not making sense. You must be crazy. He recited enough of the text for her to realize she was busted, and she immediately says, oh, but trust me,
that shit just
physical happened.
Pisses me off.
And he says, okay. She lied to you one breath ago. Most recent incident number 3. Now, fast forward to yesterday. My wife has been gone on a week-long work trip to the East Coast. We are West Coast. I actually had zero suspicions or justifiable reasons to be worried for this trip because things have been going pretty well between us and she hadn't really given off any indicators of suspicious behavior. You mean she's gotten better at hiding it. Cool. But my first clue was that when she arrived at her destination, she couldn't get the Wi-Fi working for FaceTime. And this stayed true for the entirety of her trip. First of all, FaceTime works on cellular data just fine, which we have a ridiculous amount of. I explained that to her without much of a response. Second, I know that if I were gone for a week from my family, it would be the biggest effing priority to get FaceTime up and running so that I could see my family's faces every time I called to visit, which would be every single night. Which brings me to the next point. She called us in the evening to say goodnight maybe 2 times out of the 7 days that she was gone. Based on previous trips that she's had, this was really strange. Normally, she is like clockwork, touching in with us to share her day and to hear from us about our day. And again, always on FaceTime. I asked her about that, and she claimed that she was just too tired in the evenings to get back to us. So I bet she was. Also in the past, if she was away from me or home, she would always text me good night and that she loved me, even if we had previously chatted moments earlier on FaceTime or via phone call. For this recent trip, she never texted me once. So when she got back, my radar was on high alert. Now, I don't feel good about this next part, but when she went to sleep that night, I checked her travel bag to see if my suspicions were correct. Sure enough, to my surprise, she keeps this little red book as her diary in her work bag. I open it up and there's a date marked 2/9/15. Turns out she had started writing a poem on that day about our daughter who had just been born the previous fall. Okay, that's really sweet, I say to myself, and I start to feel bad about my snooping. Flip to the next page and there's a new entry. There's no date, but it's written sequentially right after the aforementioned poem, so I know what I describe here as an entry that came up after our daughter was born. That non-dated entry starts off with her describing how much she longs for this specific person, doesn't give his name. She goes on to talk about how she can't stop thinking about him. Every man she sees reminds her of him. She talks about how she never really intended for things to go very far, but that one night that started in the bar and ended up going upstairs just felt too right to not be something meaningful. She goes on to say that she doesn't feel bad about making that decision in regard to how much it impacts her other life. She describes how she thinks maybe her other life was the mistake. This goes on for pages. That entry ends with her making peace with herself that he moved on from her and that it was time for her to forget about him. I'm assuming that her other life was our daughter and me. There was only one more entry after that previous one. I took pictures of it and have typed it out here in its entirety. I'm laughing to myself because, this is the entry by the way, I'm laughing to myself because I haven't opened this book in over 2 years and here I am sitting in his bed, in his room at his home, still feeling angst over so many of the same things. I'll go home after having a week with him and I'll be asking the same questions. Is he ever going to call again after? Was it so stupid to go on this trip? So funny how I thought we'd never speak again and look where I am. We worked together, we talked almost every other day and he was there for me as a friend. Now here I am. I'm back with questions. Why were we so hot and cold those first couple of days and then just tapered off? Maybe he's doing that moral compass wrestling and after I leave we'll never speak again. The trip was probably a bad idea, but we had a lot of fun and he did say he'd been looking forward to it. He missed me. He wanted this. I know that. I wish he would just tell me he wants me, just me and always me. It's like we dance around things because he still wants to have this thing happening despite the rest of my life and I just don't want to talk about that to the point that I'm lying and I hate lying to him. But meanwhile, every tender moment I have with him is so precious I can't believe it. I couldn't imagine we'd actually be snuggling on the couch and there we were. I haven't slept since reading that last full entry. I haven't confronted her yet either. It's been almost 48 hours now without sleep and I'm just an emotional wreck. I just don't know how to handle the situation. I guess I've gotten so good at wearing this zombie mask ever since incident number 2 happened that I've been able to limp through the last couple of days, but it's getting really hard to be around her. I hopped online and read some guides on how to deal with infidelity and most of the guides mention therapy. So I'm going to go look into that tomorrow. Just filing for divorce isn't so simple. My wife has a serious seizure disorder that is uncontrolled. She can't tell when they're happening, so that puts herself and possibly others, small kids especially, our daughter to be exact, in danger. I mention this as it pertains to custody. Imagine she's making dinner for her
my daughter one evening and has a seizure near the stovetop and the house catches on fire. Well, the only adult in the house is lying on the floor, unconscious. Or what if my daughter has a medical emergency, but then my wife has a seizure due to the stress of the situation? These are very real possibilities, ones that I fear could happen if she got custody in any way. Some of those examples aren't too far off from other real-life incidents we've had over the years due to her seizure disorder. She obviously can't drive. Would this factor into custody dispute? I mean, our daughter is starting kindergarten in a month. How could my wife transport her? I don't know what I'm looking for with this whole rambling post. Maybe just reassurance that her gaslighting isn't working, that what I've described isn't the workings of an overly paranoid mind. I feel like one minute I'm ready to file for divorce, and the next I want to try to salvage this for the sake of our daughter, or just to avoid the awful mess that will be made of all three of our lives if we end up separated. Here's some other logistical details that seem important for anyone who's managed to read this far. We own the house together, have a mortgage. I make about deleted per year. She makes about deleted per year. All right. Well, thanks. We have significant investments that we have joint control over that were given to us by her dad. They total somewhat in the range of deleted in stocks and bonds. I'm on wonderful terms with her parents and her family in general. I've always been that son-in-law that was there for everyone to lend help, no matter how small or large. All of her immediate family is right here where we live. I have zero family support from my side where we live. My nearest friend is 1.5 hours away. Thanks for any help in advance. All right, there's an edit update.
I think that his trust was dinged in college with the text. And when that happens, when you no longer truly trust the person that you're with, it's always in the back of your mind. Will they or won't they? When will they do this? And it unintentionally turns you into someone that you are not. And so this man has been literally changed unknowingly, both of them. And so it's made him hold on tighter, which in turn makes this serial cheater more of a cheater. I mean, that's what she is. The texts in college weren't a random thing. That was cheating. And I think she's done it many times since then. Maybe she likes the high she gets from it. Maybe whatever the reason is, it doesn't matter. But you have this person who doesn't trust her, but loves her and wants the relationship to work. And you have a serial cheater who's taking advantage of that. So
I think where we're at right now is I don't think he loves her. I think he loves his daughter so much that even the pain of the mess that they would go through, he's only thinking about what it would do to their daughter. Update time. I left work today in order to start lining things up. I have a lawyer lined up for this Friday. That's the earliest I could find in my area. It's just a consultation, so I'm not sure what to expect from that one meeting alone. Thanks everybody for all your pearls and especially your daggers. I definitely needed some other perspectives. I know it seems unbelievable that I could go this long, but I've been seriously gaslit for years now, just conditioned to it. It's also a character flaw of mine that to want to see the best in people. I'm just so effing scared of the unexpected. GD. I just hope she admits to it. Is there any way she can twist this around on me, like invasion of privacy? We are a Washington state, so I can't record my confronting her without consent. Relevant comments from OP. It's straight up building a case at this point. It's not about love. It's not about the relationship anymore. It's literally just building a case. Relevant comments from OP. Marriage duration. My brain has been mush this week, and I wasn't thinking straight with the math. It didn't seem that important, so I didn't really edit it out. 35, 33, married for 8, been together for 14, though. That part's right. Are you planning to do a paternity test for your daughter as well as an STD check? OP says, of all the things I'm stressed and freaking out about, that actually is not one of them. My daughter could not be a more perfect spitting image of me. It's kind of crazy, actually. Even if she wasn't mine, I'd fight tooth and nail for her because she's still my kid, blood or not. And yeah, I'm going to get an STD test. Question, do you have proof of infidelity? Response, how much proof is this, though? This is one thing that's gnawing at me. The first incident happened 13 years ago. The second incident is just he said, she said. And the latest incident, she can just make up any excuse that she wants. That's not my handwriting. Oh, I was just writing a short story or novel, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, I took pictures of the writings and book, but seriously, what good is it? Her seizures are a non-issue. I definitely get and accept all the bashing, but I don't think some people are realizing how my psyche has been shaped over all these years. She's had this horrible disability her whole life, and it's played a major role in our relationship for both better and worse. It's hard for me to just tone down that provider part of me that's been my life for these last many years. And next update 4 days later. Last update for a while. Thanks to all of you for your support. I can't even express how wonderful all of your advice and kind words have been. I'm having a hard time getting back to all of you as this kind of blew up, so I'm just going to have to stop for now. I'll post another thread with an update as needed. Take care. I met with my lawyer this morning and she was great. She gave me a lot of confidence that I felt was draining away from me throughout the week as I waited to confront. I also had a good friend that was my rock throughout the week, and I will never be able to thank him enough. I ended up confronting my wife right after the meeting with the lawyer. I refused to give up any of my evidence. I just said, I know about the other guy. I need you to talk about it. I just kept repeating that line while she went through crocodile tears and confusion about what I was talking about. It was so effing hard not to give up any of that information, but I knew I had all the power in that situation. In the end, she never confessed. I basically moved the conversation from there by saying, well, it doesn't matter if you admit to what I already know or not, because the sexting that you did last year was enough to destroy any trust I had in you, and I can no longer live like this. From there, she just kind of shut down and became pretty docile and never brought back up this outrageous thing I was falsely accusing her of. We pretty quickly moved into business-like details about what to do in the short term. Her dad came over and picked her up and gave me a hug and said, let us know if you need anything. I teared up right at that moment. I'm not letting my guard down yet because anything can happen, but I think things may work out for the better for everyone involved. I cannot thank everyone here on Reddit enough for your thoughts, jabs, pearls of wisdom, some funny comments. Y'all gave me some serious wake-up calls and support, and I am forever in your debt. All right, final update 4 months later. Just wanted to fill people in here with where I'm at with everything. Things are actually pretty good right now. We obviously separated after I confronted her. She still hasn't admitted to anything. We sold the house, and now I've got an apartment with my daughter. More about custody later. I'm actually having a blast making this space my own, and it's nice having my own time to myself again. I do have to say that I thought the loneliness would fade a bit faster, but the feelings of desperation and not knowing what to do with myself are still pretty sharp. I've started working out a lot, and I've also gotten back into writing and recording music again, which I haven't done in years. As far as my ex goes, I decided to keep things as amicable as I could for my daughter's sake, and I think it's the single best decision I've made throughout all of this bullshit. By allowing myself to feel all of the emotions I needed to feel before confronting her, I was able to keep rational and calm throughout all of this, and it's really made all of the difference. I can't imagine how awful things would have been on an emotional, legal, and custodial level had I just blown everything up when I confronted her. I confided in a few close friends about the truth of the situation just because I needed someone to talk to about all of the BS to make sure I was acting accordingly. But beyond that, no other family knows the situation. To everyone else, we just separated for amicable reasons. Her mom in particular is taking things pretty hard. I feel bad for her. She's struggling to understand what happened, but that's on my ex to tell her, not me. Wow.
Good for you.
That's very big of you. For custody, while we wait for the divorce to finalize, is that I get my daughter Monday through Friday since I'm the only one that can drive her to school. My ex gets her Saturday through Sunday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. My ex's seizures are predominantly in the evening, and it's just not safe for our daughter to be there with her on her own, at least not until she's older. We're going to work that out and get those details in writing at some point here. This sounds like an agreement that they made together, which bravo to both of you for coming to an agreement that is safe. Anyway, I'm feeling about 60% good and about 40% freak the F out now that I'm on my own. At 36, I have no idea how to approach the dating scene, and my confidence is a bit shot to hell right now. I mean, FFS, I haven't given serious consideration to another woman in over 14 years, so probably just gonna wait for 3 or 4 months while I get to know myself again, get in better shape, and then see how I feel after that. Not going to try to put too much pressure on myself to find someone again. To anyone else who has questions, I'll try to answer them. Thanks again for all of your support. I can honestly say that this wouldn't have turned out as well as it did without all of your help. Take care. A bonus post 2 years later, introducing new partner to my 7-year-old. I, 37 male, am looking for some advice and tips on introducing my partner, 36 female, to my daughter, 7. All 3 of us are active people, and I want to pick a neutral space for them to meet. I was thinking a visit to the zoo might be fun. Just looking to feel out if there are any common mistakes or pitfalls I could avoid here. Thank you. Wow. So Opie is like, I need to come back to my people because I have questions. About something brand new there. And I started getting concerned for a second when Opie was like, I don't know how I'm going to approach the dating scene. I'm like, the dating scene is the last thing you need to be thinking about right now. Like, you have an opportunity to rediscover yourself. Like, get happy with that. And the rest will work itself out here. But that's exactly what happened, it sounds like.
I see a question that says he cheated and he still gets to see his child. No, she cheated, not him. He found her cheating.
But cheating rarely has anything to do with
I don't think
ability to see your child.
Yeah, morally wrong if you're married in a relationship, but I don't think that has any impact on being allowed to see your child.
Yeah. Okay, so so to OP's question here, introducing someone new to your kid after you've been separated or the beginnings of what could be somebody new when you have an established child here, and I think take it slow. You know what I mean? Like just make it as chill and no pressure as possible, and let them get to know each other as people before presenting them as their new mom.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like no pressure, legitimately no pressure. Let them get to know each other as people.
I agree. And I'm happy that he was able to rebuild his life and come out the other side. and find himself again, and hopefully find someone that he can be happy with.
Yeah.
Someone said, advice I was given was once you've decided to leave, don't confront your spouse. Yeah, I think once you've made the decision,
It's over.
yeah,
Right?
I don't know that you go back from them.
It's done. It's done.
Or go back from that, not them.
Yes. I knew what you meant.
Okay.
I speak candy. Hey, Dusty Thunder here, and I wanted to thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that content, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and most importantly, share. Also, you can find swag and so much more at dusty-thunder.com, and you'll find even more content on all of our platforms. We're on TikTok, YouTube. We now have an official Facebook page that we'll be posting stories to as well. We have podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and so much more. You can see all of our content platforms on Linktree, which is linked in my bio. Engage with us wherever you're enjoying content, and do your best to avoid the Askonauts today. Thanks again.